What is up, fellas and lady fellas? Welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today we've got brand new Secret Slayers reveals. I just made a video for tomorrow talking about some of the things I'm excited for like upcoming Yu-Gi-Oh and stuff, and just how bright the future is and stuff. And one of the things I talked about was Secret Slayers, and I talked about how the this plant archetype wasn't revealed yet, and lo and behold, tonight we actually get it revealed. So I'm going to look like a big idiot tomorrow. Be ready for that. But anyway, as far as today goes, we've got, I think, 10 more cards revealed for this archetype, which is really hype. So it might just be everything. We don't know if it's everything for sure just yet, but it's close. It's going to be damn near close with everything, and at least showing us most of the archetypes. So without further ado, let's get jumping into it. We'll start with Snowflower Petal. Also, I believe the name now is officially Snowflowers. That's like their name, which makes sense. They're like ice-based plants. Cool, makes sense. Anyway, so we have a water plant effect monster. It's level 1. 1/1 target here. 0 attack, 0 defense, and it has 2 effects that you can use once per turn each. First effect, during your main phase, you can take 1 Snowflower card from your deck. Snowflower monster, specifically. Except for Snowflower Petal, and either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of this turn, except for plant monsters. And the second effect, during your opponent's end phase, if you control no monsters, or all monsters you control are plant monsters, and this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon this card. This card's insane. This card's fucking nuts. Straight out the gate, this is either a Stratos or a Foolish Burial. Then, every single end phase, you're getting this back, because I'm guessing based on how this archetype looks so far, you're always either going to have a plant or no monsters on the field. So this comes back every single end phase, and this isn't even one of those where once it comes back, it's banished the next time it leaves the field. This is every single end phase. This card gives you very, very powerful grindability here. I love this card. This card is nuts, plus it's cute as hell. Moving on. We've got Snowflower Sprite Prim. We've got a water plant effect monster, level 4 with 800 attack, 1800 defense. You can only use its first and second effects once per turn each. First effect, if a monster or monsters you control is tributed, you can special summon this card from your hand in defense position. And the second effect, you can target up to 2 plant monsters you control and increase their levels by 2 until the end of this turn. This is an interesting card. We already have an Xyz monster revealed, so this card makes me think that level 6s are definitely going to be a part of this. Just because raise limit 2 helps you make the rank 8 that was already revealed, so that would make sense there. This card seems a little bit underpowered. It's an extender, so if the deck is really good at tributing stuff, then this card can get on the field really easy, so that's nice. But it doesn't special from grave or deck or anything, it specials from hand, so it's like a resource in your hand to the field. It's fine. If it's a crucial part to certain combos, we'll see it played then, but other than that, I think it's just like a mediocre card. Next up, we have Snowflower Sprite Cyclin, a water plant effect monster, also level 4, with 1800 attack and 800 defense. So the other one's stats swapped. You can only use this card's first and second effect once per turn each. You can tribute this card from your hand or field, but then target up to 2 plant monsters you control and decrease their levels by 2 until the end of this turn. Second effect, during the end phase, if this card is in the graveyard because it was tributed and sent there this turn, you can special summon it, but banish it when it next leaves the field. That's pretty interesting. One other thing that's interesting is this card decreases levels, and unless they have level 10s, this makes me think that they'll get other Xyz monsters as well, not just the level 8, so it's not one of those. A lot of archetypes end up being turbo Xyz decks into one specific level. You'll either see a full-on rank 4 deck, a full-on rank 8 deck, stuff like that, or rank 7, whatever it is. You usually see them going hard there, but these kind of make me think that they might have different level Xyz monsters they can go into. And as long as the deck's good at getting there, we can get there for sure. So I like that it comes back. It does get banished, but obviously there's a clause where it won't get banished if it's used as Xyz material, because it never actually leaves the field. It goes from field to limbo to grave, so it actually doesn't get banished at all. Which is pretty cool. I think this card's a little bit better than the other one. It tributes itself and then comes back. I do also appreciate that this one tributes itself, which I believe triggers some of the other card effects as well, which could come up just as an easy trigger, an easy tribute to get other effects off, which is nice. Next we move to Snowflower Sprite Peony. This is a water plant effect monster. It's level 6. Like I said, I knew there was fucking level 6s. With 1,000 attack and 2,400 defense, you can only use this card's first and second effect once per turn each. You can tribute one plant monster to special summon this card from your hand. That's a free tribute. And a special from hand. So it's like it's essentially a tribute summon, but it doesn't. You can do it on top of your normal summon, which is pretty nice, and it gets a tribute off, so it can trigger other effects. And the second effect of this card is normal summoned or special summoned by a plant monster's effect via its own, I assume. You can add one Snowflower spell or trap from your deck to your hand. That's actually clean. As soon as you tribute something off, you immediately get to replace it with another card, and that gives you really solid utility. I don't know how many spells or traps there are. There's probably a handful, but we'll see those in a little bit. But that looks like a really good card. Then we have Snowflower Sprite Erica. This is a water plant effect monster, level 6, with the opposite stats as we've been seeing. 2,400 attack, 1,000 defense. You can only use its first and second effects once per turn each. When an attack is declared involving another of your plant monsters, you can tribute this card from hand or field, and your battling monster will gain 1,000 attack and defense until the end of the turn. And the second effect, if a plant monster or monsters you control is tributed while this card is in the graveyard, you can special summon this card back in defense position, but banish it if it leaves the field. Whew. Okay, so a lot going on here. Just a simple battle trap on that first effect, but I think the second effect is fine. This deck seems to really have no trouble at all tributing monsters on the field, or tributing out monsters anywhere. Then you can just special summon this card and banish it when it leaves the field, but as we've seen, we're going to be trying to Xyz these off so they actually don't get banished, which is pretty nice. So I think she's okay. The other one's definitely better, but could be playable. I don't think we can decide just yet on this one, but I think she's decent. Then we move to some level 8s, because of course. Snowflower Sprite Snowdrop is this one. Water plant effect monster, level 8, 1,200 attacks, 2,600 defense, with 2 hard once per turn effects, but you can activate them both in the same turn, as we've seen. You can tribute one plant monster, special summon this card, and one other plant monster from your hand. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of this turn, except for plant monsters. Second effect, you can target one plant monster you control. The levels of all plant monsters you control become that target's level until the end of the turn. This card seems really, really nice right at home in this archetype. Not only can this card jump out onto the field, but also get another card from your hand out onto the field. And then it changes everything on the field's level to the one monster you have. You can either target itself and change everything else to a level 8, opening up place for your synchro level 8 that I'm sure we'll see here in a little bit, that we've already had revealed. It's pretty good, especially if you can make it with a plant material. And also there's the potential of us getting, like we said before, we could get a rank 4, we could get a rank 6, whatever, and then you could bring herself down to level 4, level 6, and be able to go into those. But if there's a utility to them, we'll see what that utility is in what exactly the differences will be between the XCs. But yeah, she's really nice. I think she's a really good card for the archetype. Then we move to Snowflower Sprite Boris. Okay. Water plant effect monster, level 8, 2,600 attack, 1,200 defense, the opposite of the other one, as we've seen. First effect of 2, as always. When your opponent activates a monster effect that targets a monster or monsters you control, if you control a Snowflower monster, quick effect, you can tribute this card from hand or field, negate that effect. And the second effect of this card is in the graveyard. You can tribute any plant to special summon this card in defense, but banish it if it leaves the field. Again, another way to get itself back from grave and get a tribute off to trigger other effects. And then also that protection effect's actually not bad. It's like an in-archetype Saravis, the ritual hand trap card that can just negate any effect that targets a monster you control. I think this is fine. I think this is a solid card. I think it's a little more specific. You'd already have to be baiting your opponent into targeting your stuff, so it's definitely better going first. I guess it could negate like a disruption playing into a board like going second, but mainly this card's more specific to a situation. I don't think this is like a 3 of by any means, but I think it's fine. I think it's a solid card. It's just a little bit specific to when it'd be actually really good. Then we have our girl here, the rank 8. I don't remember everything it does, but I know like it can just like target and tribute an opponent's monster as the effect, not as cost. And if it's equipped with a plant monster as material, I believe it's a quick effect. And then I think it might have one other effect, but I don't remember what it is. But that's like the basics of it. It can become a nice disruption to just quick effect tribute an opponent's monster, which is pretty good. All right, but then we move to the spells and traps. So we don't have the other XZs, but I almost guarantee you, based off these effects, we're getting some other XZs. We have Stunning SNOWFLOWER, a normal spell. You can only activate one card with this card's name once per turn. You can also activate this card by tributing a plant monster. This is really interesting wording because I believe this is still cost, and it's a you can. So you do not have to tribute a plant monster to use it. You just can if you want to, because that will trigger off some other effects, potentially. So there is some potential there, which is wild. That's actually wild. Anyway, this card's effect says, add one SNOWFLOWER monster from your deck to your hand. Then, if you activated this card by tributing a monster, add any plant monster from your deck to your hand with a different name from the first one, but the same original level. That's fucking insane. I'm just saying. It's a once per turn, which is good, but it's Rhoda. You search your deck for any card, and then if you tribute it to a monster, you also have the potential to search any other plant that's ever existed that's the same level as the one you searched before. So I think you're pretty much locked into what? Like searching a level 1 plant, a level 4 plant, 6 or 8. So interesting levels there that you'd have to dig a little bit deeper to see like what plants actually work with that, but very cool. Very good, very, very good card. Next up we have Swirling SNOWFLOWERs. You can only use this card's first effect once per turn. If a SNOWFLOWER monster or monsters you control is tributed, you can make your opponent tribute one monster they control. Their choice. That's very interesting. Very interesting. So, how many of these cards tribute? I guess there are a couple effects that we've seen that tribute on your opponent's turn, but, and I don't like, if it's a SNOWFLOWER. I was going to say, like, if you could set up the Exceed and tribute an opponent's monster and then make them tribute another monster, but it has to be one of your own SNOWFLOWERs that you control. But there's definitely some utility there, and also just removal going second. I think this card's okay. I don't see it being any more than a 1 or a 2 of in the deck, but it's cool. Also, once per turn during your opponent's end phase, if you control a face-up non-plant monster, destroy this card. I don't really see that happening too often. It's kind of just a clause that kind of makes you forced to play plants in your deck exclusively, which is totally fine because this deck seems pretty fleshed out here. And then moving on, we've got Silent SNOWFLOWER, a normal trap. You can only activate one card with this card's name once per turn, but you can also activate it by tributing a plant monster. So same as the first spell. You can special summon one SNOWFLOWER monster from your graveyard in defense position. Then, if you tributed a monster to activate this card, special summon one more plant monster from your graveyard in defense position. So you can either just make this a Call of the Haunted, or, well, I guess this is more so like, what's that card called? Back to the Front. This is either like Back to the Front, or it's a double Back to the Front, which is pretty cool. This is definitely a cool card. I really like these clauses because you don't have to do them if you don't want to. You do not have to tribute that extra monster if you want to keep it, but you can, and sometimes you definitely will want to based off of how this archetype seems to roll. But that's very good. It can't just be like 2 monsters on board. If you don't have the right levels, like the monster on board isn't the level you want, but you have 2 of the right levels engraved, you're just like, give me some of them's. Give me 2 of them's, and then let's make an Exceed. Very cool. And then the last card we have here today is SNOWFLOWER Sheet. This is another normal trap card, so Trap Trick could be a possibility in this deck as well. Keep that in mind. You can only activate one card with this card's name once per turn, and as the other ones that we've seen, you can also activate this card by tributing a plant monster. This effect reads, target one face-up monster your opponent controls. Its effects cannot be activated on the field for the rest of this turn. Then, if you tributed a monster to activate this card, take control of that monster to the end phase, and if you do, it becomes a plant monster. Ooh, that's a lot. Okay. So it's Widow Anchor. This is like a trap of Widow Anchor. Obviously, Widow Anchor is better just because Widow Anchor is a quick play spell, so going second, it's way better. But this card's a nasty disruption. Negate and steal. It's still only to the end phase, so they do get their monster back, but a lot of times that can be enough. Pair this with any one weaker disruption, a hand trap, an ash, or whatever. That can make a lot of decks just kind of end their turn there. I think this card's really, really strong, and it's searchable by the one girl that searches a spell or trap when she's summoned, which is really cool. Wow, okay, that's a good card. So I think this is pretty good. Like I'm saying here, I'm almost guaranteeing. Okay, so this is number 22 in the set, which means we should have 23, 24, 25, 26. We should have 4 more monsters for this archetype, theoretically. Which means we should have 4 more Xyz here, which would definitely round out and make a legit win condition, a little bit more of a win condition, and also a little bit of utility in where you can go for this deck. But this deck looks clean. I love Xyz. That's probably my favorite extract mechanic, and they're cool. They're cute. They seem pretty strong. I think there's some really strong cards here. I think this goes right along. I think this fits right alongside Adamantia and Eldritch as, or Eldelich, whatever you want to call it, as like a really nice potential deck. I think all 3 of these have like legit potential. This is probably my favorite of the 3. Oh, it's close with Eldelich. Adamantia is cool, but it's not my style. So I'm definitely going to be looking at one of these 2 decks here, or maybe both of them, to scoop in these cards. But I'll definitely keep you guys updated if we get any more news revealed here. Because right now I'm just assuming we'll get 1 to 4 more cards here for this deck, probably in the extra deck. And yeah, but that's going to do it for me here today. I think the deck seems really nice. I think there's a lot of good stuff going on here. I'm not saying it's fully there, but there's a lot of potential. I think it's close, and it'll be close pretty quick. So that's going to do it for me here today, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. As always, subscribe to the channel if you have not yet. Just do it. If you made it this long in the video, it means you enjoyed it. So just fucking subscribe or whatever. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.